And now I'd like to present our guest speaker, Dr. Molefi K. Asante. He is an American professor and philosopher and a leading figure in the field of African American studies, and communication studies. He's currently a professor in the Department of Africology at Temple University, where he founded the PhD program in African American studies. Big hand.
Hotep. Hotep is the most ancient greeting of the African people in the world, Hotep. And in fact, our greatest philosopher and father figure was a man by the name of Imhotep. You know, there's a school here called Imhotep, right? It is named for the earliest personality in the history of the world that we know of, and that's Imhotep. So when I say Hotep, it means I come in peace. Imhotep meant the one who brought satisfaction and peace. So that's very, very important. I want to give thanks to the Almighty. I want to also give thanks to all of you, and certainly I almost never speak in the presence of Janie Blackwell without saying the Honorable Janie Blackwell, who is, and you know, when Kevin spoke about it, and Kevin, I want to thank Kevin, when he spoke about it and he was talking about how she was his councilwoman. I remember when I was a little boy growing up in Georgia, our congressperson at that time, wherever we lived in the United States, was Adam Clayton Powell. So it's like, I don't care what section of Philadelphia you lived in, your councilwoman was Janie Blackwell, as well as all the others. So Janie Blackwell, I want to give honor to you, and I also want to give honor to all of the dignitaries who are here, political figures, members of the state assembly, and members of the Senate, all the people who are directors, and all the people who have good government jobs, like Fred. I want to give thanks to all y'all. I don't have one of those, so I can say something about the choice. But anyway, I'm very, very happy to be here and to give honor. And I want to give honor certainly to Stanley Straughter. We're here to say something about him. And to say something about fathers. And so I came, and this morning, much like Kevin's wife said to him, my wife, Anna, who is here, said to me, she said, you need to move a little faster. So I'm going to move a little fast in this talk. I'm not going to keep you here long, but I want to keep you long enough to at least give you some thoughts where you can understand what it is about Stan Straughter and about fathers in general who are good fathers that makes a difference to our world and to who we are as people. In the first place, I've known Stan, and you probably know his biography. He is, of course, considered, we call him the Honorable Stan Straughter, and there's a reason for that. Because Stan worked for a long time with Leon Sullivan, Reverend Leon Sullivan, with the OIC. And he traveled all over the African world. And not only did he travel all over the African world, he met the leaders of African countries. He met the ambassadors from the United States to African nations. He met ambassadors from Africa to the United States. He represented us in an international scene. And not only that, but he gained so much intelligence and knowledge about the African world that people call him Mr. Africa. I call him that today when I see him. Hey, Mr. Africa. Because nobody represents the African continent whether you're talking about the diaspora in the Caribbean, in the United States, and South America, more than Stanley Straughter. He understands something. What he understands is what I see. And listening, for example, to the young brother Kareem, who did this beautiful music for us. I mean, we need to recognize young people like that. At 14 years of age, you can tell that he has not far from here, John Coltrane used to live not far from here. 3 blocks from here, or 4 blocks from here, John Coltrane lived. And so you can see the same general spirit that's deep in the Philadelphia people. But that's because we have this sense of not just of fatherhood, but of the sense of what fatherhood means. That's the point I want to make today. I want to make several points. Fathers are normally, when we talk about fathers, you say, what's a father? Father is somebody who is available. A father is somebody who is wise. A father is also somebody who is capable of protecting and defending. And then I think a fourth thing I want to say, a father is somebody who makes sacrifices for the family. Now, and the reason I have to put sacrifices in there is because sometimes when I say available, that you have to be available, sometimes the father can't be available at that particular moment because they're making sacrifices somewhere else in order to be more available and in order for the family and the children particularly to grow and develop in different ways. So this notion of sacrifice is central to fatherhood. I mean, I remember my own father, who only went to the 6th grade. But I always told people that he was the smartest person I ever met. And what did that say to me? It said you don't even have to be educated to be a good father. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to go to college. It's almost like the old Odu Ifa of the Yoruba people say. This is a sacred text of the Yoruba black people. And I'm telling you this because what's so important about it for me, because I always tell people I start always with the beginning. I start with African people. And that's one of the things I love about Stan Straughter. He starts with Africa. I start with African people. The nobility of African people cannot be questioned. The heroic capabilities of African people cannot be questioned. We have this heroic quality that comes from the very beginning of our history. So when you start talking about the whole origin of almost everything, the nobility of all these things, then what comes to you is this idea that African people have started so many traditions and have followed in so many ways that this notion of sacrifice that I was talking about is central to it. And we have to sacrifice sometimes from things that we're doing. We have to go back and we have to sacrifice. So I want to just draw your attention to this, that this Odu Ifa is a representative of our most noble sacred traditions. There are 256 Odus. That's like chapters. It's bigger than the Bible. It's bigger than the Quran. This is the Odu Ifa. This is Yoruba, right? And you know what it says? It says God doesn't ask you for education. God doesn't ask you for wealth. God does not ask you for status. God asks you for one thing and one thing only. Iwa rere. And Iwa rere is good character. Think of that for a father. Good character. That's what Stan Straughter represents to me. Good character. Someone who will not only be an advisor, but somebody who is wise, someone whose ears are open to all the possibilities in the world for African people to develop and grow and progress. And right now on the African continent, we have many issues. We have many issues in the Caribbean. Right now, there's a big issue, in Haiti. In Haiti, we got an issue, but we also have the United States government paying $50 million to Kenya to go to Haiti to police Haiti. Why is the United States paying $50 million to the Kenyans to do this? Why do they want to get the Kenyans involved with fighting in Haiti? What's this about? When the United States is largely, and I can say this because I'm not paid by the government, but the United States is largely responsible for all the chaos that we see in Haiti. The United States is behind this. People don't realize the United States used to control Haiti. They controlled Haiti for about 20 years. United States military, the Marines. So who created this situation, you see? And so what we don't have yet, and we will have it, we almost had it under Aristide. We don't have yet in Haiti the critical mass of Haitians who truly understand that their situation is not because they are Haitians. Their situation is because they are required to repay France for losing Haiti. That's the money that goes out of Haiti. It's like there's no way that they can survive. That the money that they have to pay to the French government does not allow them to build their roads, to build their schools, to create infrastructure, to do anything because they are hamstrung. Who hamstrung them? The Western powers, the British, the French, and the United States of America. That's who created it. So that's why Aristide, why do you think they put him out of office? Because Aristide said, wait a minute, we're not paying. They said, you out of here. And kidnapped him, took him out of the presidency. You can't be saying that, you see. So understanding that, understand what's going on in Sudan right now. Sudan is what's going on in Sudan. More people have been killed in Sudan than been killed in Gaza. Right now, in Africa, in Sudan. Two warring factions. And neither of these factions represent the majority of the people. That's the crazy thing. And what's happening is that the fight for the gold of Sudan is one of the biggest places for gold in the world. And the fight between the United States and the Russians is going on also in that situation. What's going on in Niger is the same situation. Niger, Mali. People didn't even know the United States had a military base in Niger until the people in Niger put them out. They said, you Americans, you get out. 1,000 Americans last week had to leave Niger. And then what did they do? They bring in 1,000 Russians. That's crazy. What's crazy about it is it shows that we are not, as African people, in control sometimes of our own destinies. And right here in the United States of America, that's a big issue. It's a big issue coming up in November. It's a very big issue. Do not be fooled. I read the 2025 project. You need to see what the Republicans have in store for you under MAGA. What they have in store for you is to roll back every progressive policy that has been put into force in the last 50 years. They want to roll all back. They want to take everything back because they feel that what has happened in the United States of America is that progress, individual rights, collective responsibility, the whole notion of African people being for Africa and for Africa and for equality and justice and righteousness, that all of that is problematic. And they see that as problematic because they do not want this country to go forward. They want it to go backwards. And they want it to go backwards because they feel that there was a time, this is a dream, there was a time in the world when white people conquered everybody, ruled everybody, and we want that time to come back. Well, you are responsible, that is we, African people, are responsible for making sure that progress continues. And that's why I support all of us, all the progressive actions that are taking place. And one of the things, I'm going to be finishing up now, but one of the things I want to say is that people have given black fathers sometimes a negative name. And some people talk about deadbeat fathers, but I know fathers who have sacrificed, who have done a lot of sacrifice for their children. I know fathers who are fighting for custody of their children. I know fathers like that, who are paying thousands and thousands of dollars to the courts and the lawyers trying to get their children. Don't tell me that African American fathers do not love their children. Now, there are some fathers, we know that there's some fathers who are casualties of I call them the casualties of the race war. They're casualties in the sense that they have fallen victims to the society itself. And by falling victims to the society, they just say they don't care about this and they don't care about that. But for the most part, if you talk to black men who are fathers, if they found their way and their path, and they can find it, and I'll give one hint on that, but they can find it. If they find one way to help and support their children, they'll do it. So fatherhood is central to African American people, and it's different being a sperm donor and a father. Because they're sperm donors, and I don't call those fathers. But if you're a father, you are a defender. You are wise. You are somebody who protects your family. You are somebody who makes sacrifice for your family. All these things are possible, but you can only do that through consciousness. And that's one of the things that Stan Straughter has taught. He's taught younger people this all his life. He's always been engaged in teaching young people consciousness, African consciousness. That, to me, has always been the center of what I've tried to do, because I believe that our biggest problem, I'm telling you, our biggest problem is not money. Our biggest problem is not education. Those are our problems. But our first problem is, who are we? Who are you? Who are we as people? Where do we come from? Why are we here? That's the key thing. And so I'm going to. I can see that my time is out. So I'm a good speaker, and I understand propriety. So let me just say this: we always have to honor the great fathers, and Stan Straughter is a great father. Let's give him a big hand. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right.
Holding this, we're gonna get the mic.
Sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Molefi, for your words.